Hi everyone, I hope everything's going well on paper number 1. As stated earlier, I'm going to go over the topic for paper number 4 because there's a little bit that you need to get ready for that paper's discussion. So the next couple of months, what you'll be doing is listening to a season of a podcast. A podcast simply is a digital file that can be downloaded, and you can listen to it from your Apple or Android devices as well as your computer. If you don't know what a podcast is, think radio. But in this case, there's episodes and seasons, and it's about whatever topic you want it to be about. You'll be listening to the first season of Serial, and you'll be covering a court case, a murder case, in which you put yourself in the jury box and you need to decide if the defendant is guilty. Now remember, you're an adult in America. Part of being a citizen is one day you may be on a jury, and you will have to do just that, even if you don't know anything about the justice system. So as we go through this paper and as we go through this case, sit back and take a look at our justice system and how it works, or in some cases, doesn't work. So I want to ask you a question. What were you doing 6 weeks ago? What time did you get up? Did you have breakfast? Did you have work or school that day? Who saw you that day? Is there anybody who could prove what you were doing that day? That could be a hard question to answer, and you might have trouble answering it. And now you might know how Adnan Syed felt back in 1999. You see his ex-girlfriend, Heyman Lee, pictured on the left, disappeared on Wednesday, January 13th, 1999 in Baltimore, Maryland. Her body was discovered in Lincoln Park on February 9th, 1999. And Adnan Syed, pictured on the right, was charged with first-degree murder. Adnan had 2 trials. The first trial ended in a mistrial, but he was found guilty at his second trial and was sentenced to life plus 30 years. He ended up retaining new counsel, and he's been going through the appeals process ever since. But his case hasn't just ended there in prison. Many times, to get a wrongfully convicted person out of prison, they need media coverage of that case to get people's attention. So a family friend of the Syeds named Rabia Chaudhry, pictured on the left, contacted Sarah Koenig, pictured on the right, who worked for This American Life. Sarah was working on creating a new podcast, one in which it told a person's true story in 12 episodes. Sarah found Adnan's case intriguing, and so season 1 of Serial is what you will be listening to for this paper. When Serial came out, it debuted at number 1 before its release, and it hit big. It ended up winning a Peabody Award in April 2015 for innovative telling of a long-form nonfiction story. So part of deciding whether Adnan is guilty or not, you are also going to look at how well was this story told via a podcast. But Serial is only the tip of the iceberg of this case. 2 lawyers listened to Serial and contacted Rabia Chaudhry, and they wanted to really look at the case. Now, Sarah was only a journalist, but these lawyers are lawyers, and lawyers look at things very differently during the course of an investigation. And the 3 of them found some possible new evidence, and with their new evidence, they created their own podcast called Undisclosed. Colin Miller on the left, Susan Simpson in the middle, and Rabia Chaudhry on the right spent season 1 of Undisclosed looking at Adnan's case and possibly finding some new evidence. They have since gone on with their podcast to talk about other wrongfully convicted cases as well, but they weren't the only ones to listen to Serial. A man named Bob Ruff, who was the fire chief where he lived, also found Adnan's story interesting, listened to Undisclosed, and wanted to do his own podcast where people could talk about theories surrounding the case. Truth and Justice with Bob Ruff was created, and he wasn't just okay to sit on the sidelines. He ended up investigating part of Adnan's case as well, and so he may have found some new information to help free Adnan. So where does this case stand today? As you can see, that's Adnan on the right in February of 2016. That month, he was granted a new appeal hearing in which his defense could present new information. Based on some of that information, a trial judge granted him a new trial, which is great. But as you learn in the court system, every side gets a chance to appeal, and so last summer in 2017, both sides went in front of a 3-judge panel in which the state was appealing the original judge's decision for a new trial. And so right now we're currently waiting on the decision of the 3-judge panel. Will they uphold the judge's decision, or will they say no, he will not get a new trial? Usually, on average, it takes about 8 months for a decision to be released. We are coming up on the 8th month mark, so maybe by the time you work on paper number 4, we might have a judgment in this case. It's very exciting. So what does all this mean for you in the paper? From now until April, when we start talking about paper number 4, you need to listen to the first season of Serial. There's 12 episodes, they range from 20 to 50 minutes, and as I've said at the beginning of the semester, planning is key. So make sure you plan out each episode, and don't forget you have spring break where you can listen as well. As you listen, you need to decide, is Anon guilty or not guilty, and also look at the way the story was told through a podcast. Was that a great way to tell it? What was the production value like? Was it poor? Was it good quality? And then don't forget, as you listen, on the website for Serial, for each episode, they have uploaded documents, and some of them are timeline documents. Some of them are a who's who map of everybody, and some are case documents as well. Those are great additional materials to help you as you go through the case. On Cobra is a packet with questions and places to take notes about each episode. There's also instructions for how to download the episodes to your Apple or Android device. So let me know if you have any questions about downloading the episodes or if you get confused on what the case is about. I've been studying this for 5 years, and I'm really excited when I get to talk about this case and introduce it to new people. So definitely get everything listened to and be ready to debate when we come back to class on Thursday, April 12th, to start talking about paper number 4 in the Anon Syed case. Happy listening!